Astra Kessler arrived at Nova Lyceum with a small suitcase, a thin tablet, and a heart full of fear she could not hide. The academy floated in the quiet orbit of Earth, a ring of silver and glass that caught the sunlight like a jewel. For most students, it was a dream to study here. For Astra, it felt like stepping into another battlefield, one she was not prepared to face. The docking corridor curved gently as she walked, her steps soft and unsure. Students passed her, laughing, talking, rushing to class with bright energy. Their voices echoed around her, lively and warm, but they felt distant to her ears. She kept her gaze low, her fingers tightening on the strap of her bag. Everyone expected the famous Astra Kessler to be confident. After all, she was known as a tactical genius in the Earth Defense Directorate's simulations. She had been praised by officers twice her age, studied by AIs, and whispered about by cadets who dreamed of glory. But none of those people knew the truth. They saw a legend. They never saw the girl hiding behind it at school. Astra felt small, fragile, like the quiet voice inside her could break. With one wrong step, when she reached the welcome hall, a holographic screen displayed new student names. Her own name glowed softly. Astra Kessler, Year 10, Section Orion. She swallowed hard. The moment felt too real now. A staff assistant, a friendly woman with bright eyes, approached her. "Welcome to Nova Lyceum, Astra. Do you need help finding your dormitory?" Astra hesitated before nodding. "Yes, please. Thank you." Her voice was quiet, almost disappearing in the large hall. The assistant guided her toward a lift. As the doors closed, Astra took a slow breath. She kept reminding herself that this was supposed to be a peaceful place, a chance for her to live like a normal teenager. No drills, no simulations. No commanders watching her every move, yet her mind felt trapped in old patterns. She scanned corners, checked distances, and counted exits without meaning to. Habits bred from years of pressure refused to fade. The lift opened on the residential level. A long hallway stretched out, lined with doors marked by soft digital numbers. The assistant stopped at room 140. "This is your room. Your schedule will load onto your tablet shortly. If you need anything, just message the help desk. And enjoy your time here. You're safe at Nova Lyceum." Safe. Astra forced a nod, though her chest tightened at the word. When the door slid open, she stepped inside. The room was simple, but warm. A bed, a desk under a wide window, a soft glowing wall panel showing a calm nebula. No shouting officers, no alarms. No mission timers counting down. She set her suitcase on the bed and sat beside it, hugging her knees for a moment. The silence felt unfamiliar, but gentle. A few hours later, the school day began. Astra walked to her first class, trying to slip through the halls unnoticed. But whispers started almost immediately. "Is that really her? The Astra Kessler? No way. I heard she predicted a whole fleet movement on her first try." Astra's cheeks warmed. She kept her head down, pretending not to hear. She wished they knew she was not the legend they imagined. She wished they would forget her name. Her classroom door opened with a soft chime. Several students turned to look at her. She froze for half a second before stepping inside. The teacher, Professor Hale, gave her a kind smile. "Class, this is our new student. Astra, please take any open seat." She nodded and slipped into a desk near the back. The seat felt too firm, the room too bright. She tried to focus as the lesson began. Professor Hale explained orbital physics in a calm voice, but Astra already understood everything he said. She had been trained to analyze gravitational paths and starship maneuvers since she was barely tall enough to reach a control console, but understanding the lesson didn't ease her nerves. She kept glancing around, watching the other students, trying to measure their expressions after class as she packed her tablet. A girl with short dark hair approached her. "Hey, I'm Lyra," the girl said, smiling in a friendly but not overwhelming way. "You're Astra, right?" Astra nodded slowly. "Yes. Welcome to Orion section," Lyra continued. "If you ever need help with anything, just ask. The school can be confusing at first." Astra blinked. No one ever spoke to her like that before. warmly, casually, without hidden motives. "Thank you," Astra said softly. Lyra grinned. "See, you've survived your first class. Not so scary, right?" She walked away with a playful wave. Astra watched her go, unsure how to respond. Something in her chest felt lighter, but she didn't know why. Her next class was quantum logic. She entered quietly and chose a seat near the middle this time. A boy leaned over from the next desk. "Hey, you're the new kid, right?" "Dex," he said, with a small nod. Astra nodded in return. "Astra." Her voice came out barely above a whisper. Dex didn't seem bothered. "Quantum logic's easier than it sounds. Just don't let the symbols scare you." Astra blinked. "The symbols don't scare me." She paused. "People do." She regretted the words instantly. But Dex only gave a slow, understanding nod. "Fair enough. If you ever need someone to sit with during lunch, Lyra and I usually hang by the window tables." Astra looked at him in surprise. "Why?" "Because you look like you need someone to sit with," Dex answered simply. Astra didn't know how to reply. She wasn't used to kindness without conditions. In her old life, friendship didn't exist. Everyone who approached her wanted something: answers, strategies, or proof that she was as extraordinary as the directorate claimed. Here, these students didn't want anything from her. They just wanted to include her. The thought both warmed and frightened her. During lunch break, Astra walked slowly toward the cafeteria. She considered sitting alone in a corner, but Dex waved her over. Lyra sat at the table with another student, Jun, who had gentle eyes and a calm presence. They all made room for her without hesitation. "Astra." "You made it," Lyra said brightly. Astra sat down cautiously. "Thank you for inviting me." Jun smiled softly. "We're glad you're here." The group chatted about classes, teachers, and a small drone race happening next week. They didn't ask Astra about her past. They didn't ask about the rumors. They talked to her like she was just another student. Astra found herself watching them with quiet curiosity. She didn't join the conversation much, but she listened. Every laugh they shared felt like a warm light she had never known before. Still inside her, old fears lingered. What if they discovered the truth? What if they realized she wasn't normal? What if the directorate called her back? She pushed the thoughts down and focused on the gentle hum of voices around her. After lunch, attended her final class of the day, Xenocultural History. The classroom walls displayed images of alien worlds glowing with color. Professor Amitra introduced a lesson on peaceful interspecies relations. Astra tried to concentrate, but her mind drifted. She thought about her new friends, the kindness they offered, and the fragile hope forming inside her. But then, during a quiet moment, her senses sharpened. The subtle vibration in the floor, the faint flicker of the lights, a tiny glitch in the classroom's OLO display. Most students didn't notice. Most teachers wouldn't either, but Astra noticed everything. Her heart quickened. She recognized these signs, microharmonic distortions in the station's shield. Early and faint, but familiar. Too familiar. She had seen them in classified simulations years ago. She remembered the warnings. If distortions spread, the entire station could face dangerous structural instability. Astra gripped her tablet tightly. This was no battlefield. This was a school, a peaceful sanctuary. She didn't want to get involved. She didn't want to become the genius everyone expected again, but she couldn't ignore what she saw. Her breath trembled. She looked around at her classmates, laughing, studying, living normal lives. They had no idea. Astra turned away, choosing silence. She didn't want to be pulled back into the world she escaped from. Yet deep inside her, a quiet dread settled. Something was wrong with Nova Lyceum, and Astra Kessler, fragile or not, was the only one who sensed it. The next morning at Nova Lyceum began with soft station lights rising to mimic sunrise. Astra Kessler woke slowly, blinking at the gentle glow spreading across her dorm room. It was peaceful, too peaceful, almost unreal to her. She sat up on her bed and took a deep breath, telling herself again that she was safe here. No alarms, no command orders. Just school, she got ready quickly and stepped into the hallway. Students were already walking toward their classes, chatting brightly. Their happiness felt warm and yet somehow far away from her. Astra stayed close to the wall as she walked, trying not to attract attention, but even with her quiet steps, people noticed her. Some smiled cautiously, some whispered, and some simply stared, curious about the girl who had arrived with heavy rumors surrounding her name. Astra kept her gaze forward, wishing her heart would stop beating so fast. Her first class of the day was Astronav Fundamentals. She entered quietly and took a seat near the middle. The classroom's ceiling projected a simulated star field, small lights drifting in gentle patterns. Professor Lin, a woman with silver hair and soft blue eyes, began the lesson. Today, we will learn about long-range navigation curves and safe jump predictions. Astra listened politely, but she already knew all of it. Her mind automatically began calculating star routes faster than the professor could explain them. She traced invisible lines on her desk with her fingertip, forming complex patterns she wished she could forget. Halfway through the lesson, Professor Lin presented a navigation puzzle to the class. It involved predicting the safest route around a cluster of microasteroids. Several students attempted answers. The eastern curve looks safe, one suggested. No, the gravity pull is too strong there, another argued. Professor Lin finally looked at Astra. Would you like to try, Astra? Astra froze. Her chest tightened. She didn't want to stand out. She didn't want more attention, but everyone was already looking at her. After a long pause, Astra spoke softly. Use the southern vector. The asteroid cluster shifts every 4.8 seconds. If you time the passage with a micro jump, the ship will pass safely in the gap. The room fell silent. Professor Lin blinked. That is correct. Very precise, a student whispered. I told you she's a genius. Astra lowered her gaze, wishing she could disappear. During the short break between classes, Astra stepped into the hallway. She walked slowly, pressing the tablet to her chest like a shield. A voice called from behind her. Astra, wait up. She turned to see Lyra jogging toward her with a bright smile. You were amazing in class, Lyra said. That trick with the micro-jump? I didn't even think of that. Astra shook her head quickly. It wasn't amazing. It was just basic prediction. Lyra laughed lightly. Basic for you, maybe? For the rest of us, not at all. Astra didn't know how to respond, so she simply nodded. Come on, Lyra said warmly. Walk with me to the next class. Astra followed silently. She wasn't used to having someone beside her like this, someone who didn't want anything from her. It felt strange, but nice. Quantum logic class was next. Dex waved at Astra the moment she walked in. Morning, he greeted. Astra sat beside him. Good morning. Dex leaned closer and whispered, Lyra told me you solved that navigation puzzle. Impressive. Astra's cheeks warmed. It wasn't difficult, Dex smiled. Yeah, that's the impressive part. The lesson began, and Professor Viren introduced a complex logic sequence involving multiple layers of symbolic inversion. Many students struggled to follow the steps. Astra understood it instantly. Her mind moved quickly, breaking down patterns, tracing invisible logic links in the space before her. But she stayed quiet, tapping her pen lightly to calm her nerves. Then a sudden alert blinked on the classroom display. System notice. Minor shield disturbance detected. Stabilizing. Students barely reacted. Professor Viren continued the lesson as if nothing happened. Astra, however, sat completely still. There it was again, the same faint disturbance she felt yesterday. A soft vibration through the floor, the light flicker. The energy shift in the station's core. She gripped her pen tightly. Memories of simulations flashed in her mind. She had studied these patterns before in secret training rooms, surrounded by officers who watched her every move. But this wasn't the directorate. This wasn't a mission. This was a school, and she didn't want to go back to that world. Dex glanced at her and whispered, "You okay?" Astra forced a small nod. "Yes, I'm fine." But she wasn't fine at all. During lunch, Astra joined Lyra, Dex, and Jun again. She sat quietly as they spoke about their classes and weekend plans. "The cafeteria is making nebula-shaped pastries tomorrow," Lyra said excitedly. "We have to try them." June nodded. "They're good. Sweet, not too heavy." Dex grinned. "Astra, you're trying one with us?" No escaping. Astra tilted her head. "Why are you all being so kind to me?" The three looked at her with surprise. Lyra spoke first. "Because you're our friend." Astra blinked. "Friend? I don't know how to be one." Dex shrugged. "You don't have to know anything. Just sit with us, talk with us, walk with us. That's all," Yoon added softly. "You don't need to be perfect here. You can just be yourself." Astra looked down at her hands. No one had ever told her that before. She wasn't sure she understood it yet, but she felt something warm spark in her chest. Maybe this was what normal felt like. After lunch came Xenotech Applications class. The room was filled with floating holograms of machines, each rotating slowly above its platform. Astra studied them with quiet interest. She loved technology, the clean logic, the steady patterns, the predictable behavior. Machines made sense to her when people didn't. Professor Kian introduced a demonstration drone on the front platform. "This drone uses harmonic balancing to adjust flight stability," he explained. "Sometimes these systems glitch, but it's harmless." He activated the drone. At first, it hovered smoothly. Then its lights flickered. Then it tilted. Then it began to spin out of control. Students gasped. A few stepped back. Professor Kian frowned and reached for the shutoff switch, but he wasn't fast enough. Astra stood up. "Increase the counter frequency," she called out. Professor Kian froze. "What?" Astra moved closer, her voice steady. "The harmonic core is misaligned. If you don't stabilize it now, it will crash into the wall. Increase counter frequency by 0.3. Professor Kian, startled but trusting, adjusted the controls. The drone stabilized instantly. It's spinning, slowing, until it hovered calmly again. Students stared. Someone whispered, "How did she even see that?" Another murmured, "She's incredible." Astra felt their eyes on her and stepped back quickly. It was nothing. "I just recognized the pattern." Her hands trembled. Not from fear of the drone, but from all the attention. Professor Kian gave her a stunned, grateful smile. "Astra, that was remarkable. You prevented an accident." Astra lowered her gaze. "I didn't want anyone to get hurt." Jun approached her as the class ended. "You were amazing." Astra shook her head. "No, I just reacted." Jen smiled gently. "Sometimes reacting is what saves people." Astra didn't know what to say. On her way back to her dorm after classes, Astra kept replaying the day's moments in her mind. The puzzle, the drone, the shield disturbance. She wanted to relax, to let herself enjoy the peace this school offered. But the distortions worried her. What if something was really wrong with Nova Lyceum? What if nobody else noticed until it was too late? What if she was the only one who could understand the signs? She didn't want that responsibility. She didn't want to be the genius again. She didn't want to be pulled back into the world she left behind. But she couldn't ignore the truth her mind kept repeating. Something dangerous was happening. And Astra, Kessler fragile, anxious, gentle Astra might be the only one who could stop it. She hugged her tablet tightly as she reached. Her door part of her wished she could just be a normal student, but deep inside, she knew normal was never going to be easy for someone built for war. The third morning at Nova Lyceum felt calm to most students. But Astra Kessler sensed something different the moment she opened her eyes. The station's gentle hum, which usually soothed her, carried a strange, uneven pulse today. Very soft. Almost impossible to notice. But she felt it. She sat up slowly, hugging her knees. Her mind ran the numbers without her permission: energy output, shield resonance, harmonic drift. She tried to shake it off. Today, she told herself, she would try to enjoy school. She would try to be normal. But the fear lingered like a shadow. Astra got ready quickly and stepped into the hallway. She kept her steps quiet, moving slowly toward her first class. A small group of younger students rushed past her, laughing loudly. Their carefree joy made her heart ache. She wanted to feel like that too. Lyra caught up to her near the stairway. "Astra, good morning," she said with a bright smile. Astra nodded. "Good morning." Lyra walked beside her. "We're going to study Xena languages in the second half of class today." Jun is excited. "He loves all that ancient symbol stuff." Astra let out a tiny smile. "Jun seems to like quiet things." "Exactly," Lyra laughed. "He says silence has its own language," which I guess makes sense for someone like him. Astra listened with gentle interest. Their conversation, simple and warm, eased her nerves a little, but the station's hum still felt wrong. Their first class was Xenocultural History. Professor Amitra displayed holograms of old alien artifacts, spinning slowly above the desks. Astra watched the holograms, but found her mind drifting again. The faint tremor on the floor was back. The lights flickered once so quickly that no one else noticed. Her chest tightened. She leaned slightly forward, trying to calm her thoughts, trying to push the memories away. But her brain refused to listen. It began calculating possible causes, possible dangers. She didn't want this. She didn't want to be pulled back into that world. Lyra glanced at her. "You okay? You look pale." Astra straightened quickly. "I'm fine. I think the room is just warm." Lyra frowned softly but nodded. Professor Amitra began a small assignment, asking students to translate simple alien symbols. Astra's hand moved automatically, finishing the translation in seconds. But while the others worked, Astra kept glancing at the ceiling. She felt the vibrations again. Stronger now. She forced herself to focus on her work instead. She didn't want anyone to worry. She didn't want attention, but a quiet dread filled her. After class, the group headed toward their next lesson. Dex joined them halfway down the hall, stretching his arms. "Morning, geniuses," he said casually. "Did I miss anything?" Only Astra finishing the assignment in 2 seconds. Lyra teased. Dex shot Astra a playful grin. Of course she did. Astra's full power is scary. Astra shook her head quickly. "It's not power. I just read quickly." Dex laughed. "Right, and I'm secretly the station's head engineer." Astra smiled a little, but her heart wasn't fully in it. She kept listening to the faint hum of the station around them. Dex noticed. "You sure you're okay? You look." Tense Astra hesitated. She wanted to tell him. She wanted someone to know. But fear held her back. "I'm fine," she whispered. Dex didn't believe her. She could tell. But he didn't push. Their next class was Applied Ethics of Technology. Professor Hale began a discussion about how powerful knowledge should be used carefully. "Power isn't just strength," he said. "Sometimes it's information. Sometimes it's intelligence. All forms must be handled with care." Astra stared at the desk. Those words felt too close to her own life. Jun lifted his hand. "Professor, what?" "About people who don't want power, but were given it anyway." Professor Hale nodded thoughtfully. "Then it becomes a matter of support. No one should be forced to carry more than they can handle." Astra's breath caught. She looked at Jun. He did not look back, but something in his calm expression made her wonder if he knew she was struggling. As the discussion continued, Astra felt the station's hum shift again, this time more sharply. Her pulse quickened. She finally raised her hand. Professor Hale blinked. "Yes, Astra, do you ever notice changes in the station's resonance?" she asked quietly. He blinked again. "Occasionally, but nothing serious." "Why do you ask?" Astra shook her head. "No reason." But inside, her fear grew. By lunchtime, Astra felt exhausted. She sat at the table with Lyra, Dex, and Jun, but her mind was far away. Dex poked his food. "So, guess what? I signed us up for the drone race next week." "Das, Team Orion." "Obviously," Dex said proudly. Lyra laughed. "Astra's going to win the whole thing for us." Astra shook her head quickly. "I don't race." Dex shrugged. "Then you can help us design the route, or tune our drone, or just watch. Up to you." Astra lowered her gaze. She didn't want to disappoint them. She didn't know how to act normal in these situations. Then the lights flickered again. Astra's hand froze around her fork. This time Lyra noticed. What was that? Jun listened carefully. Energy fluctuation. Strange. Dex shrugged lightly. Probably just maintenance. Astra wanted to believe that. Well, she really did, but she couldn't. After lunch, she decided to visit the library. She told her friend she needed to check something. They didn't question her. The library was quiet and glowing with soft blue lights. Rows of floating screens displayed data from across the station. Astra walked to the far corner where old research files were stored. Her hands trembled slightly as she activated a terminal. She searched for shield reports from the past week. Most entries were normal. But 2 days ago, a small note caught her eye. Minor unstable resonance detected in Sector 3. Cause unknown. Monitoring recommended. Her chest tightened. She accessed more data. Another entry appeared from early that morning. Harmonic shifts slightly increased. No threat. System autocorrect in progress. Astra closed her eyes. She remembered simulations where this same message appeared before serious failures. Small at first, easy to ignore. Then suddenly catastrophic. She leaned back in her chair, heart pounding. A quiet voice interrupted her thoughts. Astra? She turned to see June standing near her. His calm eyes softened with concern. You left lunch early, he said gently. Lyra and Dex were worried. I was too. Astra looked away. I just needed space. Jun stepped closer. But you came here to look up shield data, didn't you? Astra froze. He knew. How did you? She began. Jen gave a small smile. I notice things. Not like you do, but enough to see when someone is scared. Astra swallowed hard. I didn't want anyone to worry. But you're worrying, Jen said softly. And you're alone with it. That isn't fair to you. Astra stared at the terminal. The station's shield is malfunctioning. Very slowly. Very quietly. But it's the same pattern I saw in classified simulations. If it keeps growing. I didn't finish the sentence. Jun didn't push. He simply waited. Finally, Astra whispered, I don't want to get involved. I don't want to be pulled back into that life. I don't want to be what they made me. Jun nodded, his expression full of understanding. You're scared they'll take you away again. Astra's breath trembled. Yes. Jun pulled a chair beside her and sat down. You don't have to face this alone. You have us now. If something is wrong, we'll help you figure it out together. Astra shook her head. You don't understand. The Directorate always monitors anomalies. If I report anything, they'll know I noticed. And they'll come back for me. Chen's voice was soft but firm. And we won't report anything yet. We'll just watch. And we'll help you stay safe. Astra looked at him with wide eyes. Why are you helping me? Jun smiled gently. Because you're our friend. Because you're scared. And because you shouldn't carry this alone. Astra's throat tightened. Tears pricked at her eyes, but she blinked them away. I don't want to be that person anymore, she whispered. The one who solves everything. The one they expect to save them. I just want to be me. Jen placed a calm hand over hers. Then let us protect that part of you. We'll face whatever this is together. Astra stared at their hands for a long moment. For the first time, she felt something shift inside her, not fear, but the faintest spark of trust. That evening, Astra returned to her dorm room. Her mind full of worry, but also strangely lighter. She lay on her bed, staring at the soft lights of the fall sunset glowing on her ceiling. The station hummed around her, still unstable, still wrong. Growing more dangerous, but now she wasn't the only one who knew. Jun knew, and soon she would have to tell Lyra and Dex too. Astra hugged her pillow tightly. She didn't want to be a battlefield, Khan. She didn't want to be a hero, but something was coming. Something only she could see, and she could no longer pretend it wasn't real. Astra walked through the corridor of Nova Lyceum, with her head lowered and her hands clasped tightly in front of her. Something felt wrong in the air. The lights flickered softly, as if the station itself was breathing unevenly. Students whispered around her, unaware of the tension building behind the walls of the Orbital Academy. For days now, she had noticed. The strange harmonic waves echoing through the school's power grid. They were small at first, almost invisible to the ordinary eye, but Astra was not ordinary. Her mind trained to detect patterns long before anyone else could. Recognized the early signs of something much bigger, something dangerous. Still, she tried to ignore it. She had promised herself that she would stay a normal student. She didn't want to be the strategic weapon the Earth Defense Directorate had shaped her to be. She didn't want to be needed, but the universe rarely cared about what she wanted. The Academy hummed again, a deep, low vibration that only Astra seemed to notice. She paused and pressed her palm to a nearby wall. For a moment, she closed her eyes and listened carefully. The vibration increased. A subtle pattern hid beneath it, a rhythm too structured to be random. A resonance anomaly. Her heart trembled. She stepped back, breath caught in her throat, and tightened her fist around her tablet. "Not again," she whispered. She turned around sharply, almost bumping into Lyra. Her friend blinked in surprise. "Astra? You okay? You look pale?" Astra forced a weak smile. "I'm fine." "No, you're not," Dex said as he and Jun walked up behind Lyra. "You've been acting strange for a week." "Something's wrong, isn't it?" Astra opened her mouth, but no words came out. How could she explain something that she herself feared to understand? If she spoke, she would be dragged back into the life she escaped. Jun placed a gentle hand on her shoulder. "Astra, we are your friends. You can tell us anything." Astra hesitated. A storm raged inside her chest. She wanted to trust them, but trust was dangerous. Trust meant opening herself to expectations. Trust meant she could be taken again. Yet the vibrations in the walls grew stronger. She exhaled shakily. "Something is happening to the station." Dex frowned. "Happening how?" Astra pointed toward the ceiling. "Harmonic distortions. The shield system is experiencing unstable resonance. If it continues..." Jun stepped forward. "If it continues, what?" Astra clasped her trembling hands. "The entire station could lose structural balance." Lyra's eyes widened, but nobody else said anything. "You don't know what to look for," Astra whispered. "I only know because I've seen it before." Dex raised an eyebrow. "Seen it where?" Astra swallowed hard. This was the moment she always feared. She had worked so hard to hide her past. But her friends deserved the truth, at least enough of it. "In classified simulations," she answered softly. "Before I came here, worked with the Directorate." The group fell silent. Jun was the first to speak. "Astra, you said you were just a strategist." She shook her head. "Not just that. I was trained to detect anomalies before anyone else. I was trained to respond quickly, to guide fleets, to think like a weapon." Her voice cracked. "I don't want to do that again." Lyra stepped closer. "Astra, we don't want you to go back to that life either. But if something is happening, you can't ignore it." Astra's eyes shimmered with fear. "If I get involved, they'll know I broke my agreement. They'll take me back." "No," Dex said firmly. "They won't. We won't let them." She looked at them, confused. "How could you stop them?" Jun smiled gently. "You've saved others before. Let us save you this time." Astra felt something warm inside her chest, something she had not felt in years belonging. But the station trembled again. Breaking the moment, Astra straightened herself. "Follow me." They hurried through the halls, toward the central monitoring lab. The door slid open, and a wave of holographic screens filled the room. Students and instructors ran back and forth, trying to understand the strange readings across the station. Dr. Vess, one of the senior instructors, noticed Astra, Kessler. "What are you doing here?" Astra stepped forward with a calmness she didn't feel. "I can help." Dr. Vess hesitated. "This is a high-level technical issue. I'm not sure the resonance pattern is repeating every 42 seconds, Astra said before he could finish. "Your countermeasures are off by 0.7 harmonics. If you continue like this, the drones will destabilize the shield instead of fixing it." The room fell silent. Dr. Vess blinked in shock. "How do you know that?" Astra looked away. "Please," Just let me help. The instructor slowly nodded. All right. Show us what you see. Astra walked to the central console. Her friends closed behind her. Her fingers danced over the holographic interface. She adjusted the resonance graphs, isolated the primary wave pattern, and highlighted the interference frequencies. There, she said, pointing at the display. The anomaly is not external. It's internal. The shield's harmonic core is misaligned with the drone array. We need to sync them manually. Dr. Vess frowned. Manually? That would take a team hours. Astra looked at her friends. Not if we do it together. Lyra stepped forward. Just tell us what to do. Jun nodded. We'll handle the drone commands. Dex cracked his knuckles. I'll stabilize the power routing. Astra felt her heartbeat slow. With them beside her, she wasn't a weapon. She was a student, human. A girl trying to protect her home. She took a deep breath. Let's begin. The next hour was a blur of fast thinking and steady coordination. Astra guided Lyra through the harmonic resonance calculations. Jun controlled the drone positions with swift commands. Dex rerouted power flow with surprising skill. Dr. Vess and the station staff monitored the structural integrity while letting the group lead. Astra's mind worked faster than ever, but she didn't feel overwhelmed. She felt supported. Whenever she faltered, her friends steadied her. Whenever she hesitated, they encouraged her. Finally, the drone synced with the harmonic core. The station hummed softly, not in distress, but in balance. Astra checked the final readings. The anomaly is stabilizing. A cheer rose in the room. Students and instructors crowded around them, relieved and amazed. Astra stepped back quietly, overwhelmed by the attention. She wasn't used to praise. She wasn't used to being seen, but she felt no fear this time. Only warmth. Lyra grinned at her. You did it. Astra shook her head. We did it. Dex laughed. Maybe, but you're the one who saved the station. Astra lowered her gaze. I just wanted to help. Anne placed a hand on her shoulder. And you did. Later that night, Astra stood by one of the Academy's large observation windows. Earth glowed beneath the station, blue and gentle. For the first time, she didn't feel like she was floating alone in the void. Her friends joined her quietly. So Lyra said softly, How do you feel? Astra took a slow breath. Scared? Dex raised an eyebrow. Scared of what? Astra looked at them with fragile honesty. Scared that the directorate will come for me. Scared that I'll be used again. Scared that I'll lose all of this. Jun shook his head. Astra, we won't let that happen. You can't stop them. You can try, Lyra said. You said you were trained to act alone, but you're not alone anymore. Astra blinked, surprised. Those words felt unreal, beautiful, but unbelievable. Still, she whispered, Thank you. The lights of the station glowed softly above them. The resonance anomaly had quieted completely. Peace returned. But Astra knew the real challenge was ahead, because helping meant being seen, and being seen meant being wanted. Yet for tonight, with her friends beside her and the earth shining below, Astra felt something she'd never expected to feel again. Hope. The morning after the station-wide crisis felt strangely peaceful. The lights in Nova Lyceum glowed steadily, humming with gentle energy. Students walked through the halls with excitement, whispering about the near disaster and the mysterious group of students who fixed everything. No one knew the details, but rumors spread fast. Astra walked quietly through the corridor, her tablet held close to her chest. She kept her eyes low, as she always did, but today something felt different. The fear in her chest wasn't as strong as before. The tension in her shoulders wasn't as heavy. Last night, she faced her greatest fear, not a battle, not a tactical challenge, but the act of stepping forward and being seen. And she survived it. But the fear wasn't gone completely. As she neared her classroom, she overheard two girls whispering. I heard it was someone from our grade, as someone crazy smart. Maybe a prodigy? Whoever it was, they saved the whole station. Astra felt her heart tighten. She still didn't want attention. She didn't want to be treated like a symbol, a tool, or a miracle. She just wanted to be a student. When she entered the classroom, Lyra waved her over. Jun and Dex were sitting with her, smiling warmly. "Hey," Lyra said softly. "You okay?" Astra nodded. "A little." She paused. "I'm still scared." Dex leaned back in his chair. "Yeah, well, same here. But we're still here, right?" Jun grinned. "We did something amazing together." "You did something amazing. You should be proud." Astra lowered her eyes, a small smile tugging at her lips. "I am. A little." But deep down, she knew the real fear had not passed yet. The Directorate, her past, her identity, they were shadows waiting around the corner. And her fear came true sooner than she expected. It happened during midday. The school's announcement chime echoed through the halls. Astra Kessler. "Please report to the administrative wing immediately." Her entire body froze. Her breath caught. Her chest tightened with dread. Lyra stood up instantly. "Astra," they found out. Astra whispered, voice trembling. Dex shook his head. "We're going with you." Jen stepped to her side. "You don't have to face them alone." Astra wanted to protest, but the words never came. A part of her small and frightened wanted. Then beside her. So she nodded. They walked together through the quiet halls until they reached the administrative wing. The walls were lined with crystal panels and glowing lines. A soft hum filled the air. A tall woman in a dark uniform waited near the entrance. Her posture was rigid, her expression unreadable. Astra felt her knees weaken. The woman stepped forward. "Astra Kessler." Astra swallowed. Yes, the woman didn't scowl or glare. Instead, she gently bowed her head. "On behalf of the Earth Defense Directorate, I want to say thank you." Astra blinked. "What?" The officer continued, "Your actions last night prevented a catastrophic failure. The Directorate received the station's report this morning. Your name was listed among those who contributed." Astra's stomach dropped. "So you're taking me back?" The officer shook her head. "No, quite the opposite. The Directorate has decided to release you from all previous obligations. Effective immediately, you are no longer classified as tactical personnel. You are free to remain a civilian student." Astra stared at her, completely stunned. "Why?" The officer hesitated. "We monitored your work last night. You weren't acting under military protocol. You weren't calculating alone in a silent room. You worked with others. You trusted others. And you chose your actions freely. The Directorate believes. You've earned your future." Astra felt tears fill her eyes. Her hands trembled. She struggled to breathe. "You're letting me go?" "Yes," the officer said softly. "You deserve a life of your own." Astra didn't know what to say. Relief crashed into her like a wave. Her knees gave out, and she grabbed the wall to steady herself. Lyra rushed to her side. "Astra." Astra laughed through tears. "I'm free." Dex grinned. "You hear that? They're not dragging you back." Jun rested a hand on her back. "You did it." The officer nodded once more before turning to leave. "Live well, Astra Kessler, and live freely." She walked away quietly, leaving the group in stunned silence. Astra wiped her tears with shaky fingers. "I never thought this would happen." Lyra hugged her tightly. "You deserve it." Astra closed her eyes, letting the warmth settle into her fragile heart. That evening, the Academy held a casual gathering to celebrate the restored stability of the station. Nothing official, just students, soft music, floating lanterns, and warm lights glowing across the observation deck. Astra stood near the transparent wall, looking out at the quiet stars. The earth below looked peaceful. It's almost unreal. She felt different, lighter, like she could finally breathe. Lyra joined her first. "Are you feeling better now?" Astra nodded. "Yes, I think. I finally feel safe." Dex arrived with a cup of synth juice. "Hey, our hero?" Astra blushed. "Please don't call me that," Jun chuckled. "Fine. Then we'll call you our friend." Astra's heart warmed again. Friend. A word she never used to have. They stood together, watching the Earth's slow rotation. Astra, Lyra said softly, what are you going to do now? Now that you're free? Astra thought for a moment. She looked at her friends, the soft lights, the stars. I want to study, she said. Not because I have to. Not because someone expects me to. But because I want to learn. I want to build things. Maybe design systems that help people, not harm them. Dex nodded. Sounds perfect, Gina added. Whatever you choose, we've got your back. Ishta smiled, a real, bright smile that reached her eyes. Thank you. For everything. Lyra touched her shoulder. You're not alone anymore. That's what really matters. Astra turned her gaze to the stars again. She had once believed that her life was carved into the metal. Walls of battlefield command centers. Destined to be nothing more than a calculating mind shaped by fear and duty. But Huron, a peaceful, orbital academy, beside the friends who helped her rediscover her humanity, Astra realized something I